Most people think focus is just about trying harder. But what if your brain is actually operating on the wrong frequency? Because behind every moment of clarity or confusion, there's a pattern of electrical activity shaping how your brain functions, and one of the least talked about patterns is something called gamma brainwaves. They're often associated with peak mental states, deep focus, faster learning, even moments of insight that seem to come out of nowhere. But here's where things get interesting: most people have no idea when or if their brain is even producing them. So they keep doing what seems logical: drinking more coffee, forcing concentration, trying to eliminate distractions, repeating the same effort every day, yet the results don't match the effort. You sit down to focus, but your mind drifts. You try to learn something new, but it doesn't stick. You push harder, but your brain feels slow, and over time, it creates a quiet frustration, because it feels like you're doing everything right, but something underneath isn't responding. What's often missed is that focus isn't just about discipline. It's also about state. Your brain operates through different types of waves, each linked to a different mental condition. Slower waves tend to show up during sleep or deep relaxation. Mid-range waves are common during normal waking activity, but gamma waves are different. They're faster, more synchronized, and they tend to appear when the brain is highly engaged, when different regions are communicating efficiently. Think of it like an orchestra. Most of the time, the instruments are playing, but not fully in sync. Gamma activity is when everything aligns: timing, rhythm, coordination, and suddenly, the output feels sharper, cleaner, more precise. But here's the problem: you can't just decide to switch that on. This is where things start to feel confusing, because from the outside, it looks like a motivation issue, but internally, it may be more about how the brain is functioning at that moment, and that's why people start looking for ways to influence that internal state. Some turn to meditation, others to structured routines. Some experiment with different types of stimulation, trying to find something that shifts how their mind feels, not just what they're doing. This is where the conversation around brainwaves becomes more practical, not as a theory, but as a way to understand why certain states feel effortless and others feel like resistance. There's also another layer that gets less attention: a molecule called BDNF. It's often described as something that supports how brain cells grow, connect, and communicate, and while it's not something you feel directly, its effects show up in how easily you can learn, adapt, and stay mentally sharp. Some research suggests that certain brain states, including gamma activity, may be linked to processes involving BDNF, not as a magic switch, but as part of a larger system, which brings everything back to a simple shift in perspective. The real issue isn't that people aren't trying hard enough. It's that effort alone doesn't control the brain's internal environment, and once you start seeing that, it changes how you approach focus, learning, and mental clarity. Instead of forcing output, you start paying attention to the conditions that make that output possible. That doesn't mean there's a single solution, but it does mean there are different ways to influence the system, some subtle, some structured, some still being explored, and understanding that difference is what separates random effort from intentional progress, because when your brain is working with you, not against you, the experience feels completely different, not forced, just aligned. If you want to explore this deeper, there's a structured breakdown in the description that explains how these brain states are being approached today, and if this kind of explanation helps you see things more clearly, you can subscribe for more content like this. Quiet improvements tend to compound over time.